You know what Colorado reminds me of, and this is a great comparison now I think about it, an AAU basketball team. They got 2 or 3 really good players, and the coach just rolls the ball out there on the floor and tells them to make a play. Much respect to NDSU, but only getting 59 rushing yards, averaging 2.6 yards per carry against an FCS team? It's embarrassing. So last night, Colorado barely, and I mean they barely escaped North Dakota State. Overall, it was a great and excellent game to watch, and I gotta tell y'all guys something. We're not even into the meat and potatoes of week 1, and the Florida State Georgia Tech game, super entertaining, and same thing for this one. At least from a viewer's perspective, college football is getting off to a great start. Love me a good game that goes down to the wire. And after the game last night, most of you know this, I gave you guys my reaction. If you haven't seen it, feel free to check out that video. It's 20-something minutes long. That's not something new we do on the channel. Been doing that for a while. I either give you my live reaction to some games or my media reaction to a game. And although I had a lot to say last night, I've now had a night to sleep on it and rewatch the film. That's what I normally do. I woke up early this morning, got me some coffee, cooked me some breakfast, and I rewatched the game. I'll be confirming some of the things I stated in last night's video because a lot of those things they hold true. But unfortunately for my Colorado fans, I got some bad news. You don't just have 1 or 2 or even 3 problems. You have a crap ton of problems to fix. Oh yeah, by the way, I was reading some of the comments on the previous video, and shout out to Edward for leaving this comment. I appreciate all the kind words. You can pause and read it if you like to. I'm not going to read it off. Long story short, just saying he likes the content, he enjoys the channel, and my man, I'm just super humbled and grateful that not just you, but a bunch of people out here love college football as much as myself. I don't say it a lot, but I think it goes without being said. I greatly appreciate you guys, and I can't tell you enough how I love being part of this community. Getting out the way, let's talk about the problems with Colorado. That's why you're here. For starters, let me address this because I saw a bunch of you saying this in the comment section. Yo, Matt, what about Jimmy Horn Jr.? Dude had 7 catches for $198 and you didn't even talk about him, and that's my bad. But in fairness, I really didn't talk about Travis Hunter and Shadur too much because we know what they are and we know what to expect. But Jimmy Horn Jr., wide receiver for Colorado, he played a heck of a game, so I do want to give him some credit. Outside of Shadur, Travis, and Jimmy Horn Jr., there wasn't too many bright spots. And I get it, Colorado fans are going to say, well, it doesn't matter, Matt, we won. And I'm with you. I have always stated this. I don't care who you play. Never apologize for winning a game in any sport. I don't care if you're playing the worst team in the country. You never apologize for a win. But, and I have a really big astronomical but, you better believe this, you shouldn't even be close to being happy about this win. I'm more concerned about Colorado after this game than before it. Reminder, before this game I had them going 6-6, so it's not like my expectations were too high in the first place. I stated in last night's video, this is clear cut and obvious. If you disagree, you don't live in reality. This is not a good football team. They are average at best, mid at best, however you want to say it. But why aren't they good? Why do they struggle? Let's get into it. Reason number 1 is, after watching the film, I can confirm what I stated in last night's video. Offensive line isn't good. They're just slightly better than last year. Which yet again isn't saying too much because last year, that offensive line was atrocious. This year, they're just bad. Which doesn't shock me, but for all the Colorado fans that have been in my comment section the past 5 months talking about how they've rebuilt the offensive line, it shocks them. I can't tell y'all enough how happy I am that the college football season started because now people can't just say dumb takes and think they're right. Because if you say Colorado's offensive line has improved 3 months ago, I really can't debunk that theory because we haven't seen them play. But once the games start happening, that's when people that are saying the offensive line is much better and improved, they start to realize, okay, it's not. Offensive line, they struggle to block North Dakota State all night, and you could say, oh, well, Matt, we only allowed, hold on. I'm looking at it right here, I believe, hold on, where is it at? Hold on. Okay, I can't find it, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Shadur Sanders, he only got sacked 1 time last night. I know people are going to point towards that, but the reason he only got sacked 1 time is because of himself, not the O-line. Almost every single time he let go of a pass, he was getting hit in his chest and pounded to the ground. And if he wasn't getting pounded to the ground after a great and phenomenal pass, he was running like a chicken with his head cut off for his life. I didn't get the point there. Pass protection, terrible. But let's talk about the running game, because Colorado only had 59 rushing yards. Much respect to NDSU, but only getting 59 rushing yards, averaging 2.6 yards per carry against an FCS team? It's embarrassing. You mean to tell me you could only muster up 2.6 yards per carry? Your leading rusher in this ballgame for Colorado had 20 yards. It's a combination of two things. Number one, Colorado passes way too much. And number two, they can't push anybody. They can't pass block. They can't run block. They can't do anything. It's why I say it reminds me of last year. I'm going to continue to say it. This is the same Colorado team I saw last year. If you can't run the ball, I don't care how good of a passing game you got, you're going to struggle mightily in every single game. What hurt Florida State against Georgia Tech? They couldn't run the ball. I don't know what the percentage is, but I know it's high. The team with the most rushing yards in a game, more times than not, they win. This time it didn't happen, but moving forward, yeah, that's going to be something to pay attention to. On the flip side of the ball, defensive line, I'll give them some credit. They made some plays. But all in all, that North Dakota State offensive line held their own. And it's so funny because when I made the preview video for this game and prediction, there was a bunch of people in the comments saying, Matt, Colorado's D-line is going to terrorize NDSU's offensive line because North Dakota State has a couple starters out. Newsflash, buddy, that didn't happen. What did happen is Cam Miller, the quarterback for NDSU, had all the time in the world to pass. He wasn't even fazed by that Colorado defensive line, and North Dakota State outrushed Colorado by 98 yards. I'll show you Cam Miller's stats once again, 18 for 22. And after watching the film, I believe he spiked the ball 2 times. Does that go into incompletions? I have no idea. If it does, he really only had a couple incompletions, but still, 18 for 22 is insanely efficient. 277, 1 touchdown, 0 INTs. I already know some people may point towards this. Well, Matt, NDSU only scored 6 points in the second half, so you got to give Colorado's defense a little bit of credit. And no, I don't. The reason they only scored 6 points in the second half is because there was only a few possessions because all the super long drives Colorado and NDSU were going on. Here's the one thing that jumped off the board to me the most in last night's ball game: the play calling. And I don't know if the offensive coordinator is actually calling the plays or if Deion's telling them, okay, here's what you got to do. You never know. Deion can say I'm letting him call the plays, but you know Deion's got some say in it. I do not care if you're only getting 2 yards per carry. You got to run the ball more. The reason I say you got to run the ball more, even when it's not working, is so you can keep the defense on their heels. The way it's looking right now, I know I've said it a lot and I sound like a broken record player, but it's the way it was looking last year. Shedeur Sanders is a sitting duck. He is going to get annihilated, and I have a hard time believing he's going to stay healthy this entire season. Colorado has got to learn how to run the football, because right now is where it stands. If I was a defense coordinator, I just put... You could get away with putting 5 in the box, dropping everybody back, and play coverage. Shedeur's good enough, he could still beat you that way, but you just tell your defensive ends, hey guys, we're playing every single play like it's a pass. If it's a run, well, we're probably going to stop them either way. If I was a defensive coordinator and I was playing Colorado, no lie, I'd be licking my chops. Much easier said than done, by the way, but you put your best corner on Travis Hunter, and I'd put a safety over the top. Everybody else, I'd go man-to-man, and I'd blitz a couple of times, get me some sacks, and drop everybody else in coverage. As long as you got one guy on Travis, safety over the top, or heck, you could even double team him, everything else is going to be fine. If I were calling plays as a DC, I would call every single play like I think it's going to be a pass. You know why I do that? Because Colorado showed it last year. They're showing it in week 1. They don't want to run the ball. Most teams want to. But heck, you got Colorado who could have literally ran the clock out throwing fade routes on 1st and 10 with 1:30 to go. Other team didn't even have timeouts, by the way. They had 1. You know what Colorado reminds me of? And this is a great comparison now I think about it. An AAU basketball team. They got 2 or 3 really good players, and the coach just rolls the ball out there on the floor and tells them to make a play. If you've played AAU basketball, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's Colorado. And you're going to get away with it when you're playing inferior competition. But when you play the big boys like Oregon last year, that's when you're going to get exposed. Colorado is nothing more, nothing less than an AAU basketball team. And similar to an AAU basketball team, they're extremely fun to watch. I love Shedeur, Travis, and Coach Prime. And what I don't understand is there's this huge misconception that if you don't think Colorado is a great football team, then you're a Coach Prime hater and you hate the Sanders family and all that. Like, what? You can't say anything bad about them without some Colorado bandwagoner, by the way, or stan, whatever you want to call them, saying, oh yeah, you're just a hater. It's not hating, and this isn't me, by the way, but for the people that don't like Deion Sanders as a head coach, they don't think he's good, I think they all believe as a man, as a former athlete, he's a great guy. But for some odd reason, people don't think you can like him as a person and dislike him as a head coach when you can. For me, you know how I feel about him. I like him. He's an insanely good motivator, insanely good leader. I'm personally not going to judge him too much on his coaching abilities until year 3, just due to the fact he inherited one of the worst programs of all time. There's many more things I could say. We'll end off this video here. Let me know your thoughts down below. But